Hi everyone, this is Surendranath Singh working as TGT Social Studies in C. Belagal, Kannur district. Hope everyone is doing good. As we are aware, the tough situation is going on, but the learning process should not be stopped. We should take this pandemic situation as an advantage to discover new things and move on. So before entering into the topic, I would like to thank our respected DCO ma'am for encouraging and motivating us to make online classes possible. Okay, my dear students, today we are going to learn a very important and interesting topic about a continent. To the west of India lies a large continent. On this continent, there are extensive deserts, dense forests, long and broad rivers, numerous large lakes and grasslands stretching over thousands of miles. There are certain wild animals which would not find in our country. The world's largest gold and diamond mines are located here. Dear students, can you imagine or can you name the continent which I am going to discuss? Okay, let it be. The name of this continent is none other than Africa. Perhaps you will be surprised to know that Africa is the cradle of humankind. Human beings first evolved in Africa and then moved to other continents. Students, we'll start the subtopic of Africa, a vast plateau. Look at the physical map of Africa. Do you see any large plains in the interior of the continent? Only on the coast do we find a narrow plain. The rest of the continent is a vast plateau of varying height. Look for the valleys of the Nile and the Congo. There are also several mountains on this plateau. The highest peak in Africa is Mount Kilimanjaro in Tanzania. I repeat, the highest peak in Africa is Mount Kilimanjaro in Tanzania. So there is a region in the north where no rivers are to be seen. This is the Sahara Desert, which receives very scanty rainfall. There is only one river which crosses the Sahara Desert. The reason where this river has its source receives such heavy rainfall that there is enough water to flow across the desert into the Mediterranean Sea. The Nile also flows through Egypt. Most of Egypt is a desert. Look for some of the largest lakes on the plateau. Lake Victoria is the largest lake in Africa. This is one of the largest freshwater lakes in the world. The Nile originates from this lake. The Nile has helped a civilization to develop in this desert. Egyptian civilization is several thousand years old. The waters of the Nile have helped to irrigate the fields of Egypt for thousands of years. Okay, students. Now we'll look at the second subtopic of the chapter, that is climate. If you look at Africa on the globe, you will find that the equator passes through its middle. Thus, Africa is divided into northern and southern parts. The zone between the Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn is the hottest region of the world. There is hardly any winter here. This is also known as tropic region. These zones south and north of the tropics experience summer as well as winter. They are also called as temperate regions. So far we have been talking only about summer and winter. However, regions that are hot but receive heavy rainfall have a different climatic from hot regions than get scanty rainfall. As in our country, dry and wet seasons are distinct in the zones of moderate rainfall in Africa. Due to moderate rainfall, tall grasses grow in this region. In some places, these grasses are all so tall that even elephants can hide in them. Some trees also grow between the grasses. This region is known as savanna. So it seems very interesting, right? Okay. Almost half of the northern part of Africa is an arid region and is called the Sahara Desert. So I repeat, Sahara Desert is a very important term that you should remember. So thorny bushes and short grasses grow in some parts of this desert. In other parts, there are large stretches of sand, bare hills and rocks, stones and pebbles. In the south, there is another arid region called the Kalahari Desert. So here we can observe two important deserts. One is the Sahara Desert and second is the Kalahari Desert. Okay, students. Next we will see the next subtopic of the chapter Africa. That is the people of Africa. People with different languages, lifestyles and habits live in different regions of Africa. Since ancient times, People have lived in small tribes, carrying out hunting gathering, animal husbandry, and agriculture. Hunters have inhabited the equatorial regions and the deserts. Pastoralists inhabited the high plateaus and savanna, grazing their animals on the extensive grasslands. Agriculture has long been carried out on the river banks as well as on the margins of forest. There are several cities on the coast where traders from distant countries come to trade. For a long time, people from other continents were largely ignorant about Africa. Europeans were familiar only with the northern coastal regions of Africa, while the Indian and Arab traders knew about the eastern coast. Apart from these coastal areas, neither the Europeans nor the Indian or Arab traders had much knowledge about the interior parts of Africa. About 500 years ago, Europeans began their attempts to reach India by the sea route by going around Africa. Traversing the Atlantic Ocean, they would stop over on the islands of Saint Madeira and Azores. They were apprehensive about going south of these islands. They thought it would be so hot further south that the sea would be boiling. Then in 1498, a Portuguese sailor named Vasco da Gama went around the southern tip of Africa and reached India. So you can see the image, that is figure number 6.5, the Cape of Good Hope in South Africa. Okay, the next subtopic is the African coast. While studying Europe, you must have noticed its broken coastline. You must have read about the gulfs and bays of Europe. Try to recall how this helped the Europeans in their ocean travel. Initially, when Europeans tried to go inland, many African tribes came in direct conflict with them. Europeans indulged in unfair trade, tried to enslave the African people and sold them abroad. They wanted to establish their rule over Africa and exploit the resources. Hence, the African people resisted the efforts of foreigners to establish themselves in their land. Now we will discuss about the slave trade, which was considered as unfair practices. In the 16th century, many Europeans began migrating to America and started cultivation there. There was plenty of land in America, but not enough people to work on the fields. To fill the gap, the slave trade from Africa began. Africans were captured and enslaved mainly from the coastal areas of Guinea as well as Eastern Africa. The captured people were brought to the coast and sold to the Europeans. In exchange for the slaves, the African tribal leaders accepted guns, iron objects, clothes, etc. The slaves were greatly oppressed. Many of them died by the time they reached the ports. The ships were stuffed with slaves. There were no proper arrangements for food or medicine. In those days, it took several days to reach America. Many slaves did not survive the journey due to illness and malnutrition. Even in America, inhuman treatment was meted out to them. Despite working hard, they were not given proper food or living quarters. In this manner, millions of Africans were enslaved and taken to North and South America and the nearby islands. Lakhs of people died after they were made slaves. In the 16th and 17th century, numerous companies were engaged in the slave trade. Eventually, the slave trade ended in the 19th century and the slaves were declared free citizens in America in 1860. Okay, dear students, we will see another subtopic in the chapter Africa, that is European colonies. Earlier, you have read that Europeans had reached India by going around Africa. Subsequently, these Europeans started halting at African ports. Slowly, the Portuguese, Dutch, English, French and Germans gained a foothold in the interior and colonized these areas. The political map of Africa at the close of the 19th century is given in map 5. I request you all to observe this map. The regions colonized by the European colonies have been indicated on this map. Along with attempting to build their colonies in Africa, the Europeans continued to explore the interior of the continent. They traveled to the source of the Nile in the north. In the west, they explored the entire valley of the Niger, and in the south, they moved northwards from Cape Town. There, they explored the region around the river Zambezi. The Europeans exported African timber, minerals, etc. on a very large scale to Europe. In fact, the gold and the diamond mines in southern Africa are still under the control of European companies. Zambia and Zimbabwe have priceless mines of copper. This mineral has long been an important export item. The Europeans did not stop with exporting the resources of Africa. They established plantations to grow tea, coffee, rubber, tobacco, etc. These products were also exported to Europe. Next, the subtopic is crops and plantation of Nigeria. You may be fond of eating chocolates. They are made of cocoa, which grows in Nigeria. In southern Nigeria, apart from this, there are also rubber plantation. Oil-bearing palm trees are also found there. Oil is extracted from its fruit. People reach these forests crossing the Niger by boat to collect palm fruit. Earlier, all these trees were found in wild forest. When the demand for them increased, patches of forest were cleared and these trees were planted there. Rubber, palm and palm oil are being exported, and this enables Nigeria to earn foreign exchange. Plantation was started by the British, who were not satisfied with the quantity of wild products collected from the forest. They wanted to produce more and export them. Plantation made many things easy for them. First of all, it was no longer difficult to go into the forest and locate the trees. It was easy to look after the trees since they were all in one place. Harvesting the produce became much easier. Therefore, the production is increased. Nigerian people started working in these plantations while the British were their managers. In this way, commercial agriculture of palm, rubber began in Nigeria. Not only this, a number of processing units were also set up near plantation, such as units to separate seed from the cocoa fruit, to dry it, extract oil from palm fruit, extract milk from rubber plants, and so on. Most of the profit from trade of palm and rubber went to the British. The Nigerian people worked there only as agricultural laborers. Even in India, during the British times, plantation of tea and coffee was started for trade purposes. Nigeria was under the British rule under 1960 when it won independence. After that, the plantation and trade in plantation products have gradually come under the control of the Nigerians, and they are able to benefit from this. Okay, dear students, we will discuss another subtopic of the chapter, that is independent Africa. During the last century, African countries gained independence from the control of European powers. New nations came up with their own governments. Of course, many Europeans are still settled in African countries, but slowly the African people are acquiring control over their land, forests, mines, and agriculture production and benefiting from them. Okay, students, we will discuss another last subtopic of the chapter, that is minerals of Africa. The continent is very rich in minerals like coal, copper, tin, etc. Besides, it is perhaps the largest producer in the world of precious minerals like gold and diamonds. One of the main aims of Europeans in Africa was to exploit these resources by using servile labor of the Africans. Many of these countries and their companies control most of mineral resources of even the independent African countries till date. For example, mineral oil or petroleum is the most important natural resource of Nigeria. The Dutch companies established control over the oil mining and refining in Nigeria. Since 1958, mineral oil has been exported from Nigeria. Oil refineries have been set up at Harcourt and Variport. This industry is mostly in the hands of foreign companies to this day. The Nigerian government has only a small share in the industry. This is the same with many other minerals mined from Africa. The foreign companies do bring in new technologicals and investment into the mining and processing industries, thus creating employment for the local people. However, they use cheap labor to make huge profits which are taken away from African people. Most of the companies are also careless about environmental protection and have caused immense damage to the natural environment. This has affected the quality of land and life of the people adversely. Okay students, hope you enjoyed the topic. If you have any queries or need more clarification, please feel free to call me and get your doubts clear. Finally, I would thank to our principal sir, Meenakshi ma'am and other fellow teachers to encourage me to do this video. Thank you very much.